Hey, welcome to What Do You Think of This? We are revisiting the best things from our past to tell you whether they're still the best things for your future. I'm Jeff Abiad. With me is Josue Escobar.
Hello, everybody. This is Josue.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Gobble, gobble. Wow, you're really good at that.
Yeah. I know the kids think I'm really great at it too.
Just talking about Thanksgiving makes me hungry.
Oh, I love Thanksgiving.
I mean, we know you love turkey. When it comes to Thanksgiving time, I mean, what's your favorite thing to eat?
And stuffing.
Yeah?
I love stuffing.
What kind of stuffing? Do you have a specific stuffing recipe, or is it, I would just take stovetop? What is it?
You know, I've had a bunch of different ones. I won't turn down stovetop. I know that's kind of like, I don't know, whatever. But my mom used to make stovetop when she didn't make it herself sometimes. And it was still really good. I just love the texture, the saltiness.
Oh, yeah.
You know? I've had stuffing with little bits of apple in it before.
Oh,
it was so good.
That sounds really good.
Yeah, so good.
Oh,
and yeah, Elizabeth has made it a few times in different ways in the turkey before, which I thought it was great. I don't remember if she loved it or not, but
as it was designed.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I've had some with like sausage in it, which I didn't enjoy. I think this was like a potluck at a church somewhere or something like that.
Sure, I could see going that way and liking it, but maybe not with turkey.
Yeah, exactly. It was kind of it was too breakfasty to me. Yeah. But
Thanksgiving morning.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually pretty good idea. I love doing the after Thanksgiving, the stuffing with a little bit of turkey, cranberry sauce on a sandwich.
Okay, yeah.
On a sandwich.
If I do that on a sandwich, it's usually maybe mashed potatoes. We have less stuffing around in the house because not as many people in my house like it. I guess the kids are more standard. In my house growing up, my mom would make stuffing balls that had celery in them and onion and that kind of stuff, which is one of my favorite things, but onions are not a huge favorite in our household right now.
I love onions.
And I don't want a whole tray of stuffing balls to myself. I don't need to put on all those carbs.
Yeah, for real.
I later in life got into sweet potatoes, but I think it's because it's an excuse to eat marshmallows.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, Elizabeth's sweet potato casserole, the best.
Yeah. And Elizabeth makes, I remember, green bean casserole. I don't know if is that a regular for you guys? Because when we've done Thanksgiving together, that's been a thing.
Yeah, the green bean casserole for sure. The sweet potato casserole.
Yep.
Mashed potatoes for sure. Stuffing, and gravy, turkey. Oh, and ham.
So are you putting those both on the same plate, turkey and ham? Is that essential, or does that just happen sometimes?
Oh, dude, I'm putting it all on the plate.
Well, I mean, I get it. If it's there. But every year, do you guys have turkey and ham?
I think so.
My wife prefers ham, so it's more often than not that we'll have both. And I'm not going out of my way to eat turkey, but when it's there, I'll enjoy it.
It's so good.
But I'm more later in life too came to cranberry sauce. We have this cranberry recipe that Josh and Jenna gave us way back in the day. And I didn't like cranberry sauce at the time, but it has basically fruit cocktail inside, use real cranberries, not the canned stuff, and mix it all together. And that is delicious. And that got me into cranberries.
Yeah, that's so good. I love that. I love cranberry sauce like that too.
That's strategically like putting it on the plate too, where you can mix it together. Turkey, cranberry, a little bit of mashed potatoes.
You ever just put it in a blender all at once?
Oh,
and
no.
Then just like as a smoothie?
Like those Jones soda samplers, remember those Jones sodas where they would give you the Thanksgiving meal and drink for? Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't do that. No
I
way.
will say it's not Thanksgiving to me if it doesn't start off with the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why that became, because I don't even remember. We didn't even, a lot
My
of years.
parents used to do that all the time. I remember as a kid waking up in the morning and jumping into bed with them to watch it because they'd had TV in their bedroom and watching it in the beginning. Yeah.
I love that now. And now with the DVR action, you can just if you're a little late, it's fine, pause it and then skip the commercials.
Well, it's funny. The past few years, I don't think I've only seen the tail end of it.
Does that mean the dog show? The tail end?
I definitely turn it off on that part. But
do you? Yeah, that's Jimmy's favorite. Every now it kind of reminds me of him, so I'll let it play while I do other stuff.
No, I think I sleep in too much.
Yeah.
No, and then it's like the end of the bases. The parade is what I'm catching.
I'm usually the guy that's up early, and I think because I'm excited for that element, because it feels like it kicks off the holiday season. Like, here it is, Santa's in the back. It's that whole thing. I like it.
Who's one of the announcer or the host that's been doing it forever?
The guy?
Yeah.
Oh, we're talking about the parade?
Yeah, the parade.
Oh, I don't know about the parade. Oh, Al Roker.
Al Roker, yes.
Yeah.
He's lost a lot of weight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Good
He's
for
out
you.
there on the street just making it happen, chasing down all the floats. That's how he lost the weight.
Yeah.
Following Big Bird.
And Snoopy.
Well, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We have a couple things that are holiday related in this episode. What we wanted to do today was kick off your holiday season. One, give you something to listen to. The parade's over. Maybe you don't want to watch a dog show, or it's over.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm inside. I'm digesting turkey. So we're going to talk about holiday necessities in the form of an animated special. But we're going to give you a nostalgic recommendation to listen to for the Christmas season to kick that off.
Yeah.
For your benefit, we have opened up the Christmas library earlier than we would normally do that.
Way earlier.
Because we were talking about like time to listen to Christmas music. It was not time, but it became time in our house.
Yeah. It's getting closer and closer, though.
It's beginning to look slightly like Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere
definitely
you go.
the stores.
Take a look at the 5 and 10. Okay. But yeah, so first I wanted to talk about this Charlie Brown Thanksgiving special.
Yeah. Classic.
Which tradition-wise is something we watched every year in our house. Did you watch this growing up?
On and off. We didn't have a lot of like traditions growing up.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think what kept the tradition like alive in our house was TV. Because this was always on TV. ABC or CBS, I forget which one, but
and beginning in 1973 when it was released, it was on every year, 1973 to 1989 minus 3 years in the mix there.
Gosh, what happened there?
I don't know, 82, year I was born, 83 and 88. For some reason, it wasn't on. But we decided we're coming back, baby.
Yeah.
And now it's on Apple TV. So you can just, if you have just watch it whenever you want. This was the 10th I read primetime Peanuts special.
Wow.
But the third holiday one. Do you know what the first two were? Can you guess?
Christmas.
Christmas was the first.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the Halloween, the Halloween.
Yeah, you're right. It's a great pumpkin
patch. Yeah.
Charlie Brown. And then Thanksgiving was the third.
Yeah.
And
awesome.
In the episode, in the Thanksgiving one, Sally mentions like, they're putting Christmas stuff out. I haven't even finished my Halloween candy. Yeah. And Ephraim was like, didn't she not get any candy? Because they were in the pumpkin patch. I'm like, well, this was a different year, but they're all perpetually the same age.
I know, exactly.
That was a conversation that we actually had coming into. So if anybody doesn't know, which I find hard to imagine, Peanuts was a comic strip that was then converted into these animated specials.
A lot of things happened a lot of things started that way, didn't they?
I mean, we talked about Garfield.
Yeah.
That was very similar too. So
Wasn't Calvin and Hobbes started as a comic strip too?
It was definitely a comic strip. Was it ever animated? Was it ever like a cartoon animation?
I believe so.
I don't know.
Or am I wrong?
I don't remember ever watching that.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, obviously there's like the comic books,
yeah,
the books that came out and everything like that. But but that's a little bit different though, right? Than starting in like the newspaper comic strip.
I don't know. But I know for sure when you come to these like Charlie Brown specials, it makes more sense when you realize, I guess animated shows do this now where the kids are basically always the same age. You know?
Yeah. I mean, the Simpsons have been the same age for
35, 40 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it hasn't changed at all.
But how old do you think they are?
Oh, I would say they are 10.
10?
Yeah. 10? 7 to 10?
When you look at Charlie Brown then, why do you think he's bald?
Oh, so was he like 45? I just thought that was the cartoonist being lazy.
Okay, well,
and why are all their noses in the smack dab in between their eyes? That's what my kids pointed out. Why is his eyes, his nose right in between his eyes?
I didn't even think about that. But yeah, I just pulled up I'm Googling how old is Charlie Brown. This says Charlie Brown is 8 years old.
8 years old. See, I was close.
As a kid, the temperament of Charlie Brown definitely feels like 8. But
yeah, it definitely feels like 8, 9, 10.
Does he have some sort of medical condition? Why is he bald? Maybe he just likes to roll that way.
Early onset, what do you call it? Baldness? Early onset baldness.
Yeah, male pattern baldness.
Maybe that's the thing.
Adolescent male pattern baldness.
Adolescent.
I like to think he goes to the barber every morning, gets shaving cream, but hey, excuse me, sir, just leave this curl. Take the rest with one of those straight blades.
He's curling it in the morning.
He strolls into Snoopy's doghouse. That's it. Snoopy probably shaves his head.
That or licks the curl.
Ew.
To make sure it stays curly.
Yeah, maybe. Now that you say that, I think so. But yeah, so they're probably somewhere around 8 or so, because even the things that they're learning in school,
yeah,
Linus is a little ahead for his age, but they all
because they do depict them in school in other episodes the teachers are like
yeah. And did your kids ask where are the adults?
No, they actually didn't,
because that came up multiple times while we were watching this.
Well, they were out because they were going to go to grandma's, and they left the 8-year-old at home.
But that's the insane thing. We're watching this develop. So for anybody who doesn't know, this holiday special for Charlie Brown, he's gonna go to his grandmother's place for Thanksgiving, but then he gets a call from Peppermint Patty that's like,
right.
Hey, I'm free, Chuck. Can we come over?
Chuck.
She just invites herself over. Yeah. And so he ends up having to host them for Thanksgiving, but not having the stuff to do because they're going to be gone. So he just gets kind of stuck, trying to put together a Thanksgiving meal for them.
With the help of Snoopy and Woodstock.
Yeah. And that's
my favorite.
What my kids are like, why? Where are their parents? How are they just making all this food, setting up the table? What are their parents doing? And I'm like, it's kind of the conceit of the Peanuts comic strip.
Yeah. It's like Calvin and Hobbes,
Yeah.
The parents are in the background, kind of.
They're unimportant. They just help move the story along when you need them.
Although they do face the consequences of all the crazy stuff that happens. with Calvin and Hobbes. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because in this case, they never even show up. You just assume that they're driving the car at the end.
Yeah. You assume, right? Yeah.
I mean, all the kids are in the back of that station wagon.
That's right.
Which does feel very nostalgic for me. But
that's so funny.
Yeah. So how did your kids like it? Now, had they seen this before?
Yeah. And separately too. Because I think Eva says she saw it the other day by herself on her tablet or something.
Oh.
And Ezra said, yeah, I think I've seen this too. I think we saw it last year. Or maybe that was the pumpkin patch.
Because I'm such a traditional guy, and not in, maybe that came out wrong.
Yeah.
I get into things traditionally. Like this, I will watch all the time that my kids almost know. So, my daughter is out of town and I'm like, I'm so sorry. We have to watch this without you.
Yeah.
And we had just done it with Halloween, the whatever. Because it's a thing as a family. It's 30 minutes.
Yeah, you can watch it again.
Yeah, which we will.
You can totally watch it again.
Especially because we watched it so early.
Yeah, exactly. No, but they loved it. I think they thought it was really funny. I think my favorite part of it was the Snoopy and Woodstock bits that are just so good. They loved it too. And low key, Snoopy is the star of this whole thing.
Yeah,
he's everywhere, even on my Apple Watch.
Yeah, is he right now? When I was a kid, I had a Joe Cool skateboard. Remember the Snoopy as Joe Cool? I don't know if you remember this.
No.
But if you looked at the bottom of the board, it was him with the sunglasses and all that.
Yeah.
Because, you'll watch Charlie Brown, but I think everybody's in it because Charlie Brown is such a sad oaf.
It's just like at the beginning, I'm not falling for this again. You're going to, as soon as I go to kick, you're going to move the ball and I'm going to break my back.
I'm going to kick this ball clear to the moon.
Ah!
I read that the yelling Charlie Brown is credited as a different voice actor.
It does sound different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does sound really different.
This special,
that's a 40-year-old dude.
yeah. This third holiday special from them was the first one that was all original material, with the exception of kicking the football. That was something that existed in the comics. And I don't remember reading the comics a whole lot.
And they had to kick it off with that too.
Ha, 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 ha. I don't remember reading the comics a whole lot, but I remember that football thing feeling so familiar that I was surprised, years ago when I realized, oh, this is the only special that he kicks the football in.
Oh, is it really?
Well, he doesn't do it in the Christmas one, and he doesn't do it in the Halloween one.
Wow.
So maybe in some of the other ones or something else, I don't know.
Why do I feel like I've seen him do it everywhere?
That's what I mean. So I'm going to have to look that up. It's
probably because I've seen this multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
But yeah, I like his kind of repertoire with Lucy and all that back and forth is funny. She's not a real leading character in this one.
Yeah.
She gets sidelined because Peppermint Patty is kind of the big thing.
Yeah.
And that phone call when she calls him, she's just such a great character. And she's all tomboy, but she's into him. She's like romantically, she's like, we can hold hands under the table.
I looked at the kids and I was like, that's what me and mommy do.
Yeah.
And she's like, we don't hold hands under the table. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you let the cat out of the bag with that one. But when she calls him and she's like, how you been, Chuck? And he's
Chuck, yep.
Classic Charlie Brown. He's like, okay, I guess.
Yeah. Poor guy. He's 8 years old. He's already having like an existential crisis.
Well, yeah, that's it. The whole world, it's like nothing ever goes his way. So he just sort of rolls over and like, I guess I'm going to host you all for Thanksgiving. I can't really do anything else. And he's like, I can't remember which character he said it to. Maybe it was Linus. But he's like, I think I'm losing control of the whole world.
Oh my gosh.
And so
melodramatic.
Yeah. And so he gets to Linus, and Linus is basically helping him throw together this Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Which is, it's like, I don't know how to make anything, just basically cereal.
I know how to make cold cereal. Is that what he says? Cold cereal and warm toast.
And maybe toast.
Right? But yeah. What's funny is the way these things are written. It's like a way for adults to cope with like the stuff that they're going through in life.
Yeah.
Through a kid's comic strip.
Yeah.
Right? It's something that people have done for years. Putting adult issues into kids and having the kids like work it out. And hey, why can't we be more like kids?
Right. Yeah, they're working out their own stuff in the comic strip too.
Like, oh, nothing ever works out for me. Oh, okay, I guess. Like like that's all stuff I never hear a little kid go, nothing ever works out for me. Or I guess I'm okay. The world could be better. Like, I mean, maybe when they're complaining about like, I didn't get my way.
Yeah.
But in this sense of like that adult feeling of just moving through the world without like things going. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Totally.
So funny.
I also loved how relatable their garage space was. And I don't know if people don't really have garages that are quite the same anymore, but when they have to set it up and he sends Snoopy and Woodstock out to set up the whole thing.
It's like jam-packed.
It's so full of stuff. And they have to pull out this old ping pong table as a table, This animation style really as a kid kind of bugged me when they would do something and it would change and then it would go back and like, oh, we're back to the table doesn't have a tablecloth anymore. Where did they do with the little net on the ping pong table? Or, you know what I mean? It's like they take care of it and then it's back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because they didn't care that much. It was
they were just going really fast.
But it did feel very much like the comic strip. Like you would see the lines even in the way that they're drawn. And I think that's a really cool thing about these specials that I lose in some of the newer stuff. Because they'll put out newer Peanuts related things and it's for me doesn't have that nostalgic charm because it feels less like hand drawn.
It's more clean, you know? Well, that's the thing. What my Ezra was, he asked, like, how do they draw this so fast? Like, I'm like, what do you mean? It's like he can tell it's clearly being like with a pencil.
Yeah.
And it's moving from one thing to the next. And like, how do they do that? I'm like, well, it's a multiple pages. They're redrawing the same thing. Maybe the background stays the same, but they're drawing the character over and over and over again. And then you flip the page and it changes.
Yep.
And they're not being really. And he's like, most things are made this way, Ezra. Like they'll draw, and then they clean up all of the lines. And like he could really tell it was hand drawn, not computerized, like things like today.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Which as a kid too, the revelation of that seems insane. Somebody just drew this 100, 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And consistently. And then you get why it's like, you know what? I don't care if the ping pong table looks exactly the same in this one. We're just trying to do something here
Exactly.
and get it done.
Let's just move quickly.
It's not the priority.
Or like when they're like he's wrestling with the chair.
I love that. That's one of my favorite parts.
You could see them going in circles, but really, if you looked at the pages, it's really just like repeated the up and down parts, and it just works. It just works. It gives you the idea that they're going around in circles.
Right.
It's really pretty smart.
Those little animation tricks are really fun. And yeah, watching them put together the Thanksgiving meal or the pseudo Thanksgiving meal is probably one of the better parts for me. Buttering all the toast. So much food, by the way.
Yeah.
Which when he comes to the table, he just opens up the one plate.
Yeah.
And then he's just throwing out toast that never gets depleted, you know?
Yeah. Oh, it's funny. It reminded me a little bit of Beauty and the Beast when they're doing all the stuff in the kitchen and they're making everything and fire up the kitchen, like all that kind of stuff. It's like, it kind of reminded me of that idea of like, all right, let's just go for it. And like assembly line type.
Yeah.
Butter the toast.
Yeah.
Move on. And then who was it that grabbed
his ear? Woodstock. Yeah. He puts it in the toaster.
He's like, wah!
What is that weird toaster where the doors flip up on the sides?
That's what I said too. I was like, I've never seen a toaster like that.
No.
That was pretty neat.
Yeah.
But you could see they drew the filament of the heating filament.
Yes.
That was really cool.
But this is another scene where my kids are like, where are the parents? Because you're using so much of the bread, the butter. God knows where they got all the jelly beans. Maybe
that's right.
Who just has jelly beans and pretzels?
Hey, man, Hollywood. Halloween just happened.
Yeah, but who's giving out jelly beans?
I don't know.
That's an Easter thing. Yeah.
And leftover candy.
The other thing that's always great about these is the music.
Yeah.
Vince Guaraldi.
The jazz.
Yeah.
The theme started when they were making the food.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good.
They're all just so unique. And again, the way that the music or the animation has a charm, his style of music and the jazz infusion has this real charm to it. And the music that they play when they're setting up the table, that little birdie.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Wah, wah,
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. And I don't know why I like it so much.
Yeah, me too. I forgot about that song. And when I was listening to it, I was like, man, that's like, what made them want to put that on there?
The gift of modern music right now, if you're listening to this on like Spotify, or you can just scroll Apple Music and go, because this is what I did. I was like, oh yeah, I Shazammed it so I could find it really quick. And I was like, add to library. I just want to hear this every once in a while.
Yeah.
Because it brings me right back.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
It does, that sense of the season also. Now that I listen to that, it's like the sense of a little bit cold outside. The leaves have turned, they're falling. It gives you that sense of that season.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just the feeling.
Yeah,
Maybe it's because it's associated with what I'm watching, but it does give you that feeling.
It is like kind of a traditional rhythm. And this Thanksgiving stuff sits in a weird place because I like the music, but it's not like I'm going to listen to it way before Thanksgiving. But also I feel like once Thanksgiving is over, like once today is over, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about in a second, it's almost like right to Christmas.
Yeah.
And I can't listen to it anymore. It's still like that. Like Vince Guaraldi has great Christmas stuff, but these Thanksgiving songs are so awesome that I feel like once they're gone, it's on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So and they're on albums, but I'm not going to pull up the Charlie Brown, fall. It's like the Halloween, Thanksgiving, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It does move really quickly.
So I guess maybe what I'm saying is it makes it more special, these little specials, because it pops up and I go, oh, it feels very seasonal, but it's only for a short bit. And then it's on to the next thing.
Yeah. It's kind of like a flower in bloom. Just blooms and then it moves on.
You're very poetic. Mm-hmm. What thing blooms in the fall?
I don't know.
Gourds. Put in your cornucopia.
Well, it's like the turning of leaves. They turn, they look pretty, and they fall.
That's right.
You move on.
That's right. It's like that.
Yeah.
The one last thing I'll say about this that I really like is the kid voices included. It's just obviously real children without a ton of experience some of the lines are delivered a little clunky, and I know them really well because I've seen it so many times, so I don't think too much about it. But if you do, it's like, oh yeah, you could tell it was like a little kid memorizing lines. That's fun.
It did. That's really cool. Yeah.
That wouldn't really happen again, right? Like you saw the new Charlie Brown, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
You never did?
No.
Oh,
I need to go back and
it's not nostalgic, but I feel like I can recommend that one.
Yeah.
And again, it loses, they keep some of the charm, but it's obviously animated much newer.
Yeah.
But it was a fun, worth the watch.
I think I'm excited to see that.
So maybe if anybody's listening and you're not quite ready to get into Holly Jolly time and you've watched the special because it only took 30 minutes, you finished the podcast, and now you're like eating your second helping of pumpkin pie, pull up that Charlie Brown special. It'd be worth it.
It is worth it.
What do you think about this one, though? So what do you think of this? Holds up or pure nostalgia?
I think it holds up. I think the animation style holds up.
Yeah?
Yeah. And the music. I mean, jazz is never going to go away.
You said that before, and I do wonder, because I hope not.
I hope not too. Yeah, because it's there's so much space. I mean, I think about that song, and there's so much space in between the notes that really you don't get a lot nowadays.
Yeah.
Just everyone wants to bombard you with so much stuff.
Yeah.
And it's so simple.
I want to see, this is for the music nerds here, so if you're not into music, maybe skip forward. But I would just say, looking at audio wave files, and how everything now is so ultra compressed to be at a certain level. Like I want to see the wave file for this Vince Guaraldi trio and just see how it was mixed and mastered and how much space is in there.
There is probably tons of space.
Yeah.
Peaks and valleys, big old valleys.
Yeah. It's good. I think it holds up too. And because I can put it on, and even if some of my older kids are like, they'll be like, okay, they'll still sit down and watch it and enjoy it.
It's only half an hour. Yeah. That was the exciting part because the kids, I know if this was longer, they would have been like, okay, let's move on. Yeah. But it was really good. It's short and sweet. Thumbs up.
I say everybody definitely watch it. Thumbs up. And I think when I was looking into, the composers involved in this, because Vince Guaraldi composed, and a co-composer on this was a guy named John Scott Trotter, who handled orchestration, who also often for a series of, I think, recordings and stuff for like 12 years, maybe 14 years, worked with a man named Bing Crosby.
When it comes to the holidays, Bing Crosby is the essence of Christmas music. Even if you think you don't know his name, you'll surely recognize his huge repertoire. His voice is warm and deep and kind of sounds like a warm cup of hot chocolate and a fire in the fireplace. It just doesn't feel like Christmas time to me until Bing's sultry voice is serenading us, and I'd be happy to listen to his albums on repeat.
Talk about things that make me feel nostalgic or that I feel like are necessary to kick off a season.
Yeah.
The voice of Bing Crosby in my house growing up is always something that I associate with Christmas.
That's so funny.
When my kids hear something, and I can't remember what it was that we were talking, it's Frank Sinatra. And when they heard his voice and they're like, oh, this makes me think of Christmas.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of Bing Crosby, who was the first when it comes to like this sort of person in media. He pre-existed, Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin and all these other guys who would follow.
Okay, yeah.
He was just iconic kicking off this thing.
That's awesome.
And man, those dulcet baritone tones.
It's crazy. It's a very unique sound nowadays because no one is doing that kind of thing anymore. Everyone's in this like upper range falsetto, crazy high,
Especially, okay, let me just say, as a musician who sings on occasion, like I do it regularly, it's not even by choice. I just sort of ended up here. And everything, beginning with like when I started singing in school, so high, and I was part of an ensemble where I was classified as a baritone. Like that's my more natural tone. But the more I started singing the stuff that we do, especially church related, it's just in the rafters. So my range started going up. And the thing about Bing Crosby is, especially today, I was listening to this album again, driving the kids to school, and it just sits, especially in the morning time, in this real low, may your day. And it's just nice to be in that register where I lose later in the day, probably when my voice starts getting up in my range.
It reminds me of like the old deacons in church singing the old hymns.
Yes. Yeah, it is. It is just right there in a really sweet spot. And you can sing where he's singing down here or literally an octave up.
And you'll be fine. Yeah, exactly.
It's right at the bottom. So the album we're talking about today is called Christmas Classics. And it's a remastered one that we found from, I think it was 2006.
Yeah.
Now, I accidentally chose this one because I had one growing up, and I think it was one called White Christmas, and it was like Bing Crosby, like classic album from 1945. This one didn't exist in its current form, the tracks arranged how they are or whatever, until the early 2000s.
Oh, okay.
So the one that we had in our house growing up, like my mom had, a record of or whatever, probably wasn't even all Bing Crosby. I think it was a compilation. And there are a few other ones like that I have, like that everybody has. That they just come up, they keep re-releasing stuff in new playlists. But this one was adapted from his album. It was called, I looked it up, I Wish You a Merry Christmas from 1962.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that album has mostly the same songs, slightly different order than this
1962.
one. And that was later on for him. Like he was born in, I was going to say before 1910, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to have to look it up.
Dang.
Yeah, 1903.
1903.
Yep. And so by the time this album came out.
He's dead, right?
Oh, yeah, he died in 77.
Okay.
So by the time he was working with John Scott Trotter's orchestra way before these albums were coming out. But by the time he hit this in 62, he's well into his career, almost passed away at 62, like 1962. So what my kids asked, like every song would come up while we're listening to this.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I didn't know. Did he write this? And I was like, well, no.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. Like, did he write some of this stuff? But no, it's just, yeah.
Even the obscure ones, which we can get to.
Yeah, all this stuff has been written like way before. So
yeah.
So crazy.
But
they're keep having new renditions to this day. Crazy.
We can talk about that a little bit. But when it comes to Bing Crosby, what's your history? Is there any?
No. I mean, well, with these songs, yes, there is history. But with him specifically in my household, nah.
Yeah.
Because for me, growing up was anything that we did at church was like from hymns and these songs that were probably in the hymnals. Yep. Some of these were in the hymnals.
Some of them.
And, more of the modern era stuff is things from TV, like Frosty the Snowman and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I remember listening to this album and going, that's not how I remember it.
Yeah.
The different inflections of where he goes up or down on some of those parts. I'm like, oh, okay.
And that's why I said this wasn't the exact one that I remember, because occasionally in some songs I would wait for a certain thing and I go, oh, this is slightly different. So I'm sure he's even re-recorded some of these things in a different way.
Okay, yeah. Well, it was cool to hear like some of the older way,
I think this album, for anybody like kicking off your Christmas season, looking for something to listen to, is classic Christmas with a capital C.
Yeah.
Like when I think of just feels like Christmas to me, and this is what people oftentimes who are recording stuff now are trying to duplicate.
Yeah.
Something that feels like Christmas that you want to come back to, but is also unique.
That's what they're trying to aspire to, right?
And I'm going to sound like a curmudgeon here. But some of this newfangled Christmas stuff, because we listen to Christmas music like every year it comes around. There's new arrangements. I was just listening to another new album. And if I hear another version of some Christmas song that I love, that's like, we're going to reimagine this. So every once in a while it pans out, but most of the time I'm like, just sing the song, man.
Yeah.
Or woman, please just don't ruin this or take this. Like, I heard a version just last week.
That's what I was going to ask you. What song?
I think it was Deck the Halls.
Deck the Halls.
And that's what I want.
Yeah.
And it was like, deck the halls. It's so slow. Fa la la. I'm like, no, don't ruin Christmas. You know?
One of the things that I know kind of peeves my wife is when like a song has like one type of rhythm, but then the actual words are in a different, like either ahead or slower than the beat or faster.
You mean like he does here where he's like playing around with the...
No. I mean, well, like I'd have to like bring up the specific song, but it's one of those where you want to clap on beat, but then the lyrics are slower. And it's like, how do I marry the two? Hate when they do that with music as far as like Christmas music too.
Yeah.
It's like...
Well, it's again, because everybody's trying to get an album that you're going to listen to.
Yep.
Which I'm sure Bing Crosby was doing. Like Christmas has existed way before him. Some of these hymns have existed a long time. So he's bringing in a new thing to it, which this is what I wondered your perspective. As a listener, I grew up listening and I'm hearing him a lot. So his versions of these songs feel familiar enough to me that when I hear something new, I'm probably comparing some of it to him. But people are trying to put out these albums and go, what's going to make somebody buy this, want to listen to this? So I'm going to record a new version. Of course, they don't want to just hear the same version of the same song. Yeah. I have to change it a little bit, which I get. But man, they get contorted and changed into these weird, like, I don't like this. Just give me a jingle bell.
That's why that's why it's the beauty of not having, like not being so into Christmas. For some people who might know me, I kind of hate Christmas. I think it's because of working retail for so long. Yeah. I'm starting not to hate it now, but I'm almost 10 years out of working in retail.
Yeah, but then you're working in a church, so.
And so, yeah, it all comes right back around. And there's other things there too. But anyway, not wanting to be all in on Christmas when Christmas comes around really helps when you're listening to this from just no expectation. This is what Christmas should sound like to me.
Yeah.
My favorite track on here is actually two favorite tracks.
Okay.
White Christmas, the very first ones, White Christmas and Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. And I might lean more towards Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas.
I was going to say that.
Because it is so... I've heard it in movies. I've heard it in just social media or just, I guess, all the nostalgia movies, Home Alone, whatever, those types of things. And I'm like, that is the best Christmas song probably ever written.
I don't want to hear this song, again, to get musical here, sung by a tenor or a soprano. I want a Bing Crosby, Have Yourself.
Yeah, and it's...
Or an alto, female, low, just dulcet, like a Judy Garland or something down there.
And it's funny because like I have no background with Christmas music, but listening to this one, I would say this is the one. Like if you asked me like, hey, which version of White Christmas, I probably would have scoured looking for one, be like, no, that's not quite it. No, I heard it like this. And now this one now gives me, I guess, the name and the person to the actual version.
It reminds me of...
Because I would have brought up like Michael Bublé's or something like those. That's close, but it's not quite what I remember. This is exactly what I remember.
Remember in the Charlie Brown, to go back to Peanuts, Christmas special, where Lucy's trying to get Schroeder to play Jingle Bells. And, she's like, oh, Jingle Bells. Like, well, and he's like fancying it up on the piano. And by the end of it, he's like, clunk, clunk, clunk. And she's like, that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it. Like you get to
this song. That's how I felt.
You hear Bing Crosby go, yep, that's the one.
This is the quintessential, in the mood for Christmas song.
He's similar to Frank Sinatra on this album. I feel like there's a lot of really quality stuff that's not too flashy. Now, there are moments where you go like, oh, I didn't expect that, or that's a little, whatever. But like the orchestration, the band in the background, the vocals even on the here we are, and it's like a 3-part harmony in the background, very classic sounding, but it's like just what I want in a Christmas song.
Yeah, and simple. It sounds expensive, if that makes sense.
What do you mean?
Like the way it was recorded. Like it sounds like they were in a really nice studio.
Oh, by 1962 really nice. In his career, I am sure.
Really great classic. The stuff that some of my engineer friends would go, we need to use this vintage stuff.
I bet sound. Bing Crosby, because it
wasn't vintage then.
He was such a name though, and he had been doing it for so long. Like Michael Jackson had his mic or whatever. It was Bing Crosby coming in the studio. Either this is his studio or this is his mic for sure.
Yeah.
We're gonna pull this out.
Everything was recorded on a Neumann TLM 187 or something. You know what I mean?
One thing I did not like about the remastered version of this that I only experienced when I listened to on my TV. So I have the HomePod set up in stereo, and they will duplicate Dolby Atmos or something, I think was turned on.
Uh-huh.
And that may have been in. I didn't turn it off because most of the time I was listening to this elsewhere in my car or my house or something. But it got really reverby, and his vocal was way less present. When I'm listening to him, though, Bing Crosby, you want that saturated low end just in the front.
Have yourself.
Oh, it's so good.
A merry little Christmas.
For the listener, if you can't tell, that was actually Josue, not Bing Crosby. Crosby.
Yourself be alive. From now on, our troubles will be out of sight.
Here's the other thing about this and listening to an album, because now I don't listen to albums through until we've been doing podcasts. Every once in a while, I'll listen to an album. But if I do, I'll go I want to listen to this. I'll listen to it once, and then I'll go on to something else. So it'll shuffle.
Yeah.
But because we were doing this for the pod, I'm I'm going to listen to this. I'm just going to put it on repeat because it's also short.
It is. Yeah, these songs are very short.
We're just going to hit it. Even
2 minutes each, less.
Even some of these arrangements on this particular album are cut down a little bit shorter than they normally are. So you just get in, get out. So I just put it on repeat. And I'm listening, with my kids. I wouldn't normally just listen through an album. And they're just jumping in and singing along.
Yeah.
Because they all know the songs. It makes you want to sing the songs.
Yeah, I was surprised at how many of these songs I actually knew. And some of these that we actually, we sing it at church, like Oh Holy Night.
Yeah.
I've never, skipping ahead here, one of the ones that I kind of hated was Patapan.
I like that song.
That song is not good.
Pada, 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 pan. Really take your little drum. I have no idea what he's singing. This is one of the ones where I know the melody and I go tooraloo, pada, pada. But every time it's da 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 pada ba. I don't know what he's saying.
That's what seemed a little it didn't seem as Christmassy to me.
Oh no, yeah.
Tooraloo. I'm like.
This is
Tooraloo, pata pata pan. When we play the fife and drum.
What's the next line?
Christmas shall very joyful be like men.
No, that's the next verse. Like the men of olden days, to the King of Kings give praise.
I get this. I think we sang this one time at church.
Really?
I think in a hymn. It just takes me back to me sitting at a pulpit. Or standing there and going, this song sucks.
Okay. I want to get back to that with one of these other songs because I totally get what you're saying. I just love the visual of a bunch of people at church.
Who the King did praise.
Tooraloo, pata pata.
Yeah, because it's one of those call and response. I think is how the way they did it.
Pata pata pan.
Yeah. Tooraloo.
Pata pata pan.
And then
Okay, so when I started my illustrious vocal career, I didn't really start singing a whole lot until high school, but I was part of this vocal ensemble for our school.
Uh-huh.
And we would sing all kinds of traditional arrangements and some modern stuff, but it was a lot of we're going to sing in Latin or we're going to sing whatever. And Christmas season was perfect for that group because there were so many. We'd be singing Carol of the Bells. We'd be singing, again, stuff in other languages. So I could... Yep. And I could easily see us singing something like this. And that's a song that when you hear it, it feels festive, Christmassy, but it's not something that, we'd sing along to.
Yeah.
And also, it gets to on the edge of what are we singing about? Because, I think Christmas songs fit in a few different categories. You have your classic spiritual hymn feeling songs.
Yeah.
Oh Holy Night is definitely one of those. What child is this? Totally. But honestly, I'll come back to it. But then you also have this is, I don't know what media, but nostalgic Christmas. Like White Christmas is like that, right? Rudolph, yes. Winter Wonderland is like Frosty, like you said.
Frosty Snowman.
Even
it's not the one I remember too. Frosty the Snowman and Rudolph were the two ones that I wanted to say too that weren't quite like I remember them.
Let's talk about that. But what I want to say is, and we'll come back to this, because I have something to say. The third category is just like, this is Christmas. This is, I don't even know what to call it. It's like, whatever Pat a Pan is, it's like, this sounds like Christmas. But then when you take the microscope out, you go, what the heck?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What is this? But let's talk about Frosty and Rudolph.
And Rudolph. Yeah. So it's funny because like in the Rudolph Red-Nosed Reindeer song, there's the end of one of the choruses or whatever. He says, you'll go down in history. Sometimes he doesn't go history. He'll go either history, whatever, change it. And I'm like, I don't like that.
Oh, yeah?
You messed it up. And anyway, then he says, when he names the deer on...
Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen, Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitzen. Or at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, at the end when he goes
in. He says on something.
Yeah. Comet and Cupid and Donner and something.
Yeah, and Cupid on Donner on something.
No, like, wait, I was at the very end. I was kind of him throwing in his personality.
Yeah. I'm like, whoa, that threw me off. Like, what is it really supposed to say? And Blitzen? Because, yeah, you're right. It doesn't say Blitzen at all.
Yeah, we can come back to maybe suggested arrangements because this Rudolph is a song where there are so many different versions of it.
Yeah.
Who sings it in the classic claymation? Is it like Merle Ives or something?
I don't know, but that's what I was thinking this was, and then it's not. So,
yeah. He does it. Also, when it goes to Rudolph is talking, the second verse.
Yeah.
I'm Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
I didn't like that either. It was so weird. It's some like girl's voice, lady's voice, right?
He hadn't developed completely yet. He was still a young deer, no antlers.
And then the same with Frosty the Snowman. I'm trying to remember what part it was that like threw me off. That I was like, different renditions. What I like.
Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say. Was it when Santa talks?
I think it is.
Rudolph, with your nose so bright.
Yeah. I don't know why they added actors into the song.
Yeah, that one was him though, wasn't it? Talking?
I don't remember.
Okay, I'm more okay with that maybe because it's kind of fun and it's a little bit different. It's not, I wouldn't say it's my favorite version if I was going to listen to Frosty the Snowman or Rudolph, that I would pick that. Mm-hmm. But I'm okay with it because it gives me the element of we're all just singing together. Everybody's kind of doing their own version. We can all still sing along. Yeah. We all get it.
Yeah.
And I listen to these songs and it makes me want to sing more like Bing, like not just low, but like play around with the lyrical placement on the timing and whatever. Cause he's like Frank. It's like, not on.
This is like where Frank got it.
Mm-hmm, it is. And every once in a while, like the vocals would come in the background and okay, we agreed when we hit this part, we're all going to sing this together probably, I'm guessing. But then otherwise he's all over the place, you know? And I kind of like that. I kind of like the free form of it.
I like it too. And one of the songs that also we always sing, I always bring up when it's snowing is Let It Snow.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I'm like, if this album didn't have that song in here, I probably would have been disappointed.
Yeah.
Because like that's... Yeah, every time it snows in my house, I'm always like, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. And because it's that nostalgia thing, it's been around for, before I was born. And I just bring it up. It's really cool to look outside. It makes you think back at all the times I sang that when it was snowing outside.
Mm-hmm. The funny thing is in my like adolescence and stuff, we lived in Arizona. So
that's right.
It was all fake,
Wow.
Did I talk to you about the Christmas productions we used to do at the church, the huge Christmas productions?
No.
Our version of Snow every year, because that would be part of the draw. It was a big church and we'd have live animals, like camels.
Did you guys make it cold in the
No,
church?
we should have. Nobody wanted that. But I do remember one year, like at the very beginning, we were people like rollerblading through the church as if they're ice skating with a scarf. And it's so hot outside,
Yeah.
But I was multiple years on the production team and our job was to to do the snow, and we had a leaf blower way up in the attic of the church, and we would just stick it, my now brother-in-law and I, out the little hole on top of the giant Christmas tree. The choir was standing in a huge Christmas tree, the whole choir.
Oh, wow.
And then at the very top, we'd have a snow blower. One of us would be sprinkling, and it was just like plastic bits that made to be this,
and
just blowing fake snow over everybody in the
breathing
church.
it in.
No, it wasn't asbestos. And then afterwards, though, this is probably where it got, like, we were recycling it. Like, you'd go to the stage, you'd scoop up all the snow and then drop it back in and hopefully not get anything else that you're then blowing right back into everybody. I do remember every year, though, they would get one of the girls, maybe like preteen age. You had to be young enough to be able to stand on this platform. Like, it required somebody of less weight.
Yeah.
And so they'd dress her up as an angel, and she would stand at the very top of the tree, and she'd have like a halo or whatever. And us, like little boys, would like try and angle the snow blower to like hit the choir and hit the angel, which you never could because it was like the bad angle for it. But it was like, that's Christmas snow to me.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
There was a lyric in one of these, the White Christmas song, where it's, what does he say? Something about like in the old days.
Here we are as in olden days, happy golden days of yore.
Like white, like almost as if like white. Remember White Christmas, like we used to have.
Yep.
It almost made me feel like, whoa, do you guys not have white Christmases every single year? And we really don't. When was the last time it snowed on Christmas? Christmas Day.
Well, again, you're talking to an Arizona boy, so never.
And even here, since you've lived here, how long has it been since it snowed on Christmas?
It's true. Yeah. I remember living when I was a little kid further north, and it was more a sign of the winter season that it's snow, for sure. We would be hoping for snow on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And definitely by Christmas time.
I guess if you live in the north, it's the only time you're going to see Christmas, Thanksgiving, and in Christmas for sure.
Yeah.
Alaska.
I'm happy though. I'm happy when it does snow, but I don't need it all the time.
Nah, me neither.
Because
having to plow the snow.
That's it. Because we are the guys now responsible for shoveling, and my 40-year-old back is like, kids. Because there's still the bit in me that wants to do the most and get it done. So I'm scooping too big, and I have no training because Arizona. So then you're just repeatedly doing crazy amounts. It gets heavy if you're scooping up a lot. So you should be doing it probably in smaller bits. But I'm like, no, I'm going to do this. Yeah. And then I just need to lay down.
You got to remember, it's just gallons and gallons of water that you're scooping up and throwing.
And dying. And the kids are like, Dad, we're going to go out and play. And I'm like, don't walk there. Don't pack down the snow.
Well, it's funny because you get bundled up, you get all nice and warm to be out there. And then you start working and you start building up a sweat and you're taking layers off, and that's worse for you too.
Yep.
We need to get a snowblower.
I do. Some of our neighbors have one, and I'm like, one of these years.
Snow machines, you just roll and it just throws the snow off to the side.
Do you guys have much of a driveway that you have to you have your little driveway area, but do you have to do any of the sidewalk, street, anything like that's all taken care of?
Yeah, no, we do some of the sidewalk for ourselves, especially to get to the car.
To get to it.
Yeah, to get to it.
So I believe the reason, and we won't get into it because of where we're headed next week, but there's a reason specifically for that song. I think this is an original Bing Crosby song, White Christmas.
Yeah.
That he's singing about, it used to be or whatever. This is what I want. Anyway, we'll dig more into that.
Nice.
But the one thing that happens a few times, and I don't know that it happens on a lot of other albums, but it's specifically on this one, where he medleys two songs together that I would never have put together. So when he goes to What Child Is This? That's track 4 in this album. And I'm listening to it going, okay, it's very standard, almost too standard, but the more I listen to it, I'm like, I'll sing along, but I like other versions of that song. But then he goes into the Holly and the Ivy.
The Holly and the, yeah.
Can you tell me what that song's even about?
I don't.
I have no idea what went into putting those two songs together at all. But I like it. It's another Christmassy, this feels Christmassy, but I have no idea what it's about. I mean,
Ivy? Isn't ivy, like what grows on trees, like poison ivy.
The holly and the ivy, when they are both full grown. The holly something.
All of the trees that are in the wood, the holly bears
The crown?
The crown. The rising of the sun.
The choir comes in. The rising of the sun and the running of the deer. The playing of the merry organ, sweet singing in the choir. We're just like throwing Christmassy things at you.
La 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 la. And Mary bore sweet Jesus Christ to be our
sweet Savior. Yeah, what are we saying? So I guess that's his connection to what child is this, but this gets maybe to my problem here, my underlying problem.
Yeah.
And what I will say...
Is this your least favorite song?
No.
Okay.
I'll give you one more guess.
On what your least favorite song was?
My least favorite song in this.
Little Drummer Boy.
No, I like that one. Actually, and that was Justin's favorite too.
The Littlest Angel?
Dude, that song.
That song is terrible.
Every one of these songs on this album, I will listen to and go, oh, I like this, or oh, Christmas, or whatever.
Yeah.
Not only did I get to this song and I went, what song is this?
Let me tell you a tale that is often told, Jeff, in a great Castile hall.
First of all
about an angel only 4 years old.
Had you ever heard this song?
The Littlest Angel of all. No, I had not. Nope.
I'm going to look up the lyrics too so I can go along this with you, because when I looked it up just to figure out what the heck this is, it was published as a children's book. Here's a little...
Oh, but there was treasures in this little book.
Here's this little cherub here. Okay. So
why do they depict cherubs as cherubs?
I don't know.
It's not biblically accurate, guys.
Okay, that's also my problem. And because the theology of this song, okay, so the whole song is about this 4-year-old, the youngest, littlest angel, only 4 years old. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then the angel has this little box of things that it loves. A butterfly with yellow
that he brought from earth.
A butterfly with golden wings and
piece of
hollow log. I can't even remember how it goes.
2 shiny stones from a riverbank.
2 shiny stones from a riverbank, and the leash or the
worn out strap of his faithful dog.
Faithful dog.
Then the angels all heard that.
Okay.
The holy child.
Yes. So the angels all hear that Jesus is going to be born. Okay. So now I'm even more confused, because somehow this child has turned into an angel. Not biblically accurate. Okay. By the way, anybody? And then also he's now in heaven, I guess. And he's got his little box of trinkets that he brought. A dead butterfly? Or is this? I don't know.
Probably a dead butterfly.
Whatever it is. And then a piece of a hollow log. Okay, maybe pre-existed Jesus, for sure a log. 2 shiny stones from a riverbank. The worn out strap of his faithful dog. Does that exist pre-Jesus? Because then we're suggesting that in this weird timeline, they're watching Jesus is about to be born, and he's got his dog leash. And he's like, and now for some reason, each angel is going to present a gift to Jesus. And so this kid,
each gift was a heavenly gem.
He's so sad because he doesn't have anything. The most valuable thing he has is this little box. This little box. I'm basically rewriting the song, and I don't know how he gives it to Jesus.
Fine and wrapped.
He wraps it somehow. Mm-hmm. And is this physically being given to Jesus?
The little angel sat alone and cried.
Because this is all I got. Everybody else has these magnificent gifts. They've been angels way longer than me. They're so much bigger.
So meager, just a butterfly with golden wings, a little piece of hollow log.
Little piece of a hollow log, 2 shiny. Okay, meanwhile, while I'm hearing these ridiculous lyrics, this song is so repetitive.
Yeah, it is. It's the same words the entire time. It's so repetitive.
Okay, if I can in Bing Crosby's
the first paragraph is repeated the entire time.
The littlest angel of all How does it go? I can't even hear it anymore because I worked so hard to get this stupid song out of my head.
Then the angels all heard that the
Little over and over. Da, 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 da. I love you, Bing. I love your voice.
I would say
da 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 da, and then again da 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 da. So it's like a 25-second melodic phrase that just goes over and over and over again.
it's so crazy. I mean, if it was a minute song, maybe it would be okay.
Just a butterfly.
With no words, with no lyrics.
His stupid little trinkets are my favorite part of this song because at least it changes. Sorry, you were saying.
Yeah. No, I was saying like the only thing is if this song was a minute, it would have been acceptable. But it goes on for 3 minutes.
It's better as a book.
It goes on for 4 minutes. Sorry.
It's one of the longer songs.
The longer songs, and it's really, really, really repetitive. Even the actual musical score.
So somehow, how did it make it onto this album of Christmas classics?
They probably had a certain amount of songs that they put on the album.
Sing anything else,
or was it popular back then?
I don't know. That's what I'm wondering. I have no idea because if the book was a thing, then sure. But oh my gosh. I hate it.
We found Jeff's worst.
I hate it. Okay, and so of course now the happy ending is his gift was basically looked on with favor and became a star in the sky.
It's so dumb.
This is my problem. This is my problem with Christmas songs, okay? And I don't know why the little drummer boy in my mind gets a free pass because if you want to talk about historical accuracy or theology, also makes no sense.
That's true.
Okay. And I'm like, okay, there's a drummer, but he's there. Here's my gift for Jesus. Okay. Yeah, but it's maybe because it's like catchier. But this one, I'm like, so this 4-year-old kid who somehow died, which we're not even talking about, or he's in heaven with his little sad stuff. And then he's so sad because all the other angels, have better stuff. And now he's, for some reason, giving his dog leash to Jesus, who's a baby. And now, why does it become a star?
Because it was the greatest. No, sorry. It was
the greatest treasure of all.
Yep, exactly. Because it was the meekest treasure.
The meekest. So Jesus is after your meekness. And just a butterfly with golden wings. What's the next line? A little piece of a hollow log.
Yeah.
To shiny stones from a riverbank. And the worn out strap. And at the very end of his song, of his faithful dog. God, I'm just skip.
Yeah, definitely. The little box became the star.
I don't know why. It makes no sense. This is, as I was going to say, this is what I don't like. Christmas stuff that's just like, well, let's be Christmassy. And I get that everybody is not a Christian. That's fine. If you have a holiday song or whatever, but to take something like this and to just mesh it with Christian stuff, but it means nothing.
Yeah.
I don't. No. Get rid of this little kid. Send him back to heaven.
This little angel.
I'm glad he caught a break, but he does not belong on Bing Crosby's album. And thank the Lord that after this song, it goes right to Let It Snow, which is a weird turn, but I needed that lift.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my gosh.
The rest of the mashups, whatever. Patapan goes to While Shepherds Watch Their Flocks by Night.
Hark the Herald was good.
Yeah, and maybe that's why, though, that they medleyed those, weird songs with a hymn, because otherwise, who wants to listen to that?
Yeah, exactly.
Pata, 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 pata. I would listen to that one. Not
all the time.
Anyway, yeah. So Hark the Herald, was great and classic. Came upon a midnight clear.
Hear what I hear. That one
said
classic.
The night wind to the little lamb. Yeah,
that was a classic.
Yeah,
and these have all been classics Were they classics then? Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Certainly. Well.
And they'll be classics for years to come. I mean, there's no way people aren't going to be listening to this stuff in the next 50, 60 years.
Yeah. Okay.
It's never going to go away. So, maybe the Littlest Angel for sure.
I hope that goes away.
watch it come. It'll come back around because of this podcast. That'd be awesome.
If you guys drive the ranking of this up in Apple Music or Spotify because I said this, I will be so irate.
It's going to be in the next 20 Christmas movies in the near future.
The stupid thing is, I said, I skipped it every time. I'm like, nope. And the album.
Let's go, Littlest Angel. Come on.
The album comes around so fast that it kept like, no, here we go again. Blah. And then I thought, okay, we're going to talk about this. I need to listen to this. And then I listened to the lyrics and it made me more angry. It's not just repetitive.
That's what it was
stupid.
meant. I think that's what they meant it for.
To make me angry?
Exactly, yeah. To make some people angry. People were sitting in together going, hey, this isn't theologically correct, guys. Should we put this out there? This was their era's time. This was their equivalent to a sloppy wet kiss or not.
And you were going to say that. What I really hope is not the case.
I think I heard a lyric change on that one to be a forceful kiss or something like that. Yeah. It's pretty bad, people.
Give it up. Let's go on. But, I was going to say, I hope it's not this was Bing Crosby. His grandmother read him the story every night and it just really touched him. And it's a reason Moon. He became a singer or something.
Come here, little Bingaman.
Little Bingaman.
Hey, Bingaman, we're going to read The Littlest Angel of All.
You are the littlest angel, Bingaman.
Bingaman. He's like, I'm going to sing this song one day. And it's going to piss Jeff Abian off.
Yeah. Oh, it's the worst. So, well, okay. How do you feel about this? Does it hold up or is it pure nostalgia?
I think it's a little bit of both, man. I think the nostalgia is what draws you to enjoy some of this.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm curious as to anybody who's never heard Christmas music before, if they would like this or not. Culture. Because, exactly. I think anyone who's ever watched a Christmas movie, listened to anything, gone to a Christmas party, you've heard this stuff, and there is a sense of nostalgia to it.
Totally. Yeah, with Christmas, any music, you need some form of history to appreciate, most likely.
Yeah.
You could just pull something out of another culture and go, oh, that's interesting. Whatever. Maybe you're drawn to it in that way. But most of the music we listen to is built on other music. Mm-hmm. We talked about that. So especially now with Christmas music, there's that layer, but there is also, I want some form of nostalgia.
Yeah.
So when I listen to this, I go, all nostalgia, but I'm looking for nostalgia.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's not so inauthentic nostalgia. This feels right. This sits right in the spot where I personally want it. So I feel like it's hard maybe for me to be 100% fair. So I am interested if other people throw comments below or want to vote in the poll.
Yeah.
Because for me, this totally holds up.
Yeah. I think it holds up because it's embedded in our culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's embedded in Christmas culture.
Yeah.
And whether or not you enjoy or don't enjoy the newer renditions and whatever that come out, it is something that it just takes you to that place.
Uh-huh.
I can hear the bells, ching, 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 ching.
Which, by the way, on this album, there's a lot of little additions like that. And some Rudolph's voice is a little too much.
Yeah.
But every once in a while you get here's a gong, a bell, a church bell.
Those bells are that makes you definitely think of a cold winter day.
Yeah.
And a Christmas tree. Kind of thing. That gives you that type of
picture
in your head.
Somebody knew what they were doing.
Yeah. And I think there's whole videos I've watched of people going this is what makes Christmassy is the chords they choose.
Sure.
All that kind of stuff. And this is all over this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Christmas. If you take those out, then you take away. It's really crazy how those chords, those arrangement of notes together have become Christmas.
Yeah.
And I'm curious also to know if in any other culture that doesn't hold Christmas like this, those notes bring up the same feel or not.
Yeah, because it will bring something, but I think it would be different, at least, my relatives and background and stuff, I can imagine, or people who are maybe not part of the same subculture I am, you go, oh, every season I experience the same seasonal change you do, but it's not like this.
Yeah.
It's not these kind of songs. Maybe it's more choral, or maybe it's more instrumental. Handel's Messiah, we listen to annually, and that brings in a certain vibe or that sort of thing. Or if you live on the other side of the world and it's summertime and it's Christmas, what's that like?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I think this holds up. I think it's going to, maybe it will, maybe it won't make me into one of those people that listens to Christmas music before even Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
But now that it's Thanksgiving Day, I think you are fully allowed to turn on the Christmas music. And this is an album that I think you should totally start with.
Yeah, I think so. This was when this was all in what'd you say?
62?
1962. How many years ago was that?
I have to do math now. 40, 50, 60 years, basically.
Yeah. So will Mariah Carey's album be the same in 40, 60 years from now?
I don't know if you'll be listening to that and going because for sure the All I Want for Christmas, everybody thinks about ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba.
Yeah, dude. Like that's become iconic. Did you ever catch the Christmas special with her and Ariana Grande?
We may have. It was like a year or two ago, right?
Yeah,
I think we watched it, but I don't remember it very well.
That was insane.
Well, let's talk. So now that we're not doing a closing the loop today, what I wanted to do to end with was throw out a few recommendations for people because, we're going to hit a break over the Christmas season. So we only have a couple episodes left, meaning we're not going to be able to dig into all of our Christmas stuff. But when it comes to stuff that is essential Christmas for you, what does that look like? Now, we can talk in generalities because I'm sure we'll get to this in years to come.
Yeah.
But let's talk music first. Like, what's the music that you're like, I'm going to listen to this. It's Christmas time. I'm going to listen to.
The one that has been that's come up the last few years for me has been the Michael Bublé one.
Oh, yeah? Is it one particular album?
It's the Christmas Deluxe Special Edition Michael Bublé Christmas. That came out in 2011. And I think I started listening to this probably pretty normally right around when Eva was born.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and I think it was even, it's funny because I used to have, I don't have it now, I used to have like an Eva playlist and she was like one or two.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a Michael Bublé song, Christmas song in that playlist that just rotated. And one of the songs from 007 was in it too.
What? Wait, which one? Which 007?
I
Casino Royale?
I think it's the one with Adele.
Oh, yeah. Skyfall?
Yeah. Eva, when she was a baby, loved Skyfall.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
With Lucy, it was, "This girl is on fire." Alicia Keys. I don't know why, but she play the fire song.
The fire song. So this Christmas album, obviously I would recommend to people. It's a little longer as far as how many songs it has, but everything is classic. And
you enjoy the whole album?
I enjoy the whole album because there's nothing in it that is kind of like Bing Crosby where, you're like, why is this in here? Or it's not, there's no mashups either. Uh-huh. So it's really good. There's probably a couple that I would skip, whatever, but I think you could put that on a loop. I think what's really cool about Spotify, whatever, is you can just go to radio mode from that artist and it'll bring up other stuff that's really like it.
Yeah.
And Christmas music at that point, it just all blends together and you don't, this was the first time listening to Bing Crosby. It was the first time I was like, oh yeah, different people sing these and have different renditions of them.
Yeah.
I knew that they had those, but this was the first time I paid attention to it because now there are certain things that have stuck with me a certain way and how I've heard them.
Yep.
And whether they give me the nostalgia feel or not.
Totally.
Because if you can give me that nostalgia feel, whether it's Michael Bublé or Bing Crosby, then you've nailed it for me as far as what Christmas is.
Sure. But I also don't want to hear somebody, I don't know. It's a really fine line where it's like, okay, I don't want you to do a parody of Bing Crosby.
Yeah.
But I also don't want you to go too off the rails. When I was, and we can talk about maybe some more interesting recommendations that aren't as classic. But because I grew up listening to Christmas music so much and being involved in so much and singing it every year. I knew the traditional stuff very well. And then this stuff, Bing Crosby era, like I know that. And so there was a season where it's like, oh, I want those unique arrangements. And remember those Wow Christian like compilation?
Oh, yeah.
The first Wow Christmas, I loved that album. Third Day had a Do You Hear What I Hear? I think Reliant K had Deck the Halls on there. I think there was my favorite track on the whole thing, speaking of the Little Drummer Boy, is Audio Adrenaline's Little Drummer Boy.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's full on rock and roll.
That's crazy.
It's not it's not traditional at all, but I will still pull that up and love it because it's so funny to me and fun. Do you know that one, that arrangement?
I don't know if I do know that one or not.
I would say
have to listen to that.
Just for fun, if you think you might be into that at all, you guys should listen to Wow Christmas, that way first one that it's like a yellow and orange looking album.
Okay. The other one for me is the David Crowder one, Oh for Joy.
Yeah, great.
Listen to that one a bunch of times. Christmas comes around. And then there is obviously, Switchfoot.
Sporting the merch.
Switchfoot has a couple of Christmas songs. I love Evergreen.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be evergreen.
Is that John Foreman?
That's John Foreman.
Yeah, so it's not like a full Switchfoot arrangement because that's more folk kind of feeling.
It is, yeah. And then there's also the one that came out recently. I think it was 2 years ago now. Man, it's crazy. But the one that they did with Need to Breathe, Hometown Christmas.
Oh.
Have you heard that one?
I think so.
Hometown Christmas.
I like those kind of unique tracks that feel Christmassy but modern. Like Coldplay has a Christmas light song that they'll do, or somebody will put something out like that. It's like, okay, this is something new that fits in the genre.
Yeah.
It's not over the top. It's not whatever. It's just kind of, I like those.
Yeah. So anyway, those are the things that I come back to are those, especially if there's an artist that I really like, respect, or I like, like David Crowder, Switchfoot, Need to Breathe.
Mm-hmm.
I'll listen to them and whatever rendition they do, because like even in Hometown Christmas, at the very end, they go to Hark the Herald Angels Sing, A Peace on Earth. What I think that's what they go to at the end of it. But they basically go to a classic. They throw back, right? And even that version of it, they build it so big and it fits so well with the rest of their song that it's like, a new appreciation for that portion of the song.
Because I've been doing this Christmas music thing and organizing my music library for so long, my Christmas playlist is huge. I can't even share it. It's too many songs. Some of the songs aren't even streamable. I've just had these albums forever and I've added them, and I used to buy them and then sort them. But now that you can stream stuff, I'm less likely to add even a new album. Even if I like it, it's like, okay, this has to meet a certain standard for me to add to my library, because it's fine if it just comes up on shuffle, but I don't need another version of Oh Holy Night or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, what I want to know is, if you had to reduce your Christmas library to your top 5 artists that you go, it's Christmas time, who would those be? And I don't know that I've completely thought this through, but just after our conversation today, Bing Crosby is on my list. There are some compilation albums, by the way, that have him on it and others that I listen to every year that are really great. Maybe we can talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
But if it's just artists, Bing Crosby for me. The Vince Guaraldi trio, we talked about Peanuts and Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
Such great Christmas music. Green Sleeves, like any of that stuff.
Okay.
Really good. But when we come into the modern era, one thing that I've loved, and I don't know if I would pick one or both, is this a cappella craze that has happened. And some of it goes too far. But it started with Straight No Chaser.
Oh, yeah. True.
Who, by the way, has a great version of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And then it became Pentatonics, who have taken
I was going to say that one, too.
They're awesome. And like so many, and every once in a while you're like, okay, too much. But most of the time, it's fun. It's new. It's obviously they're so talented.
Yeah.
And the production of what they do is so great. I know they sing other stuff, but I kind of only listen to them for Christmas music.
I mean, if I had to pick artists, man, it's hard because...
It's funny, in all that, as a church, like, and a pastor, I didn't pick anything that's like spiritual in there. I feel like I ought to throw in just an album of hymns, because I love that stuff too.
Page 175 in your hymnal. No, I think if I had to pick artists, I wish Switchfoot, John Foreman, had more Christmas stuff. I mean, because if I just picked him, it'd be like 3 songs maybe,
Yeah.
you know, and it'd be like kind of short list of songs. But I would say, I mean, well, yes, it's Michael Bublé's album would be there. So
he's one of your 5.
yeah, he's one of my 5 for sure.
I like him. I wouldn't have put him in my top 5, but I totally get that.
But I have that one as like a nostalgia at this point now
your
too.
thing.
for
It's
the
a
past-
Christmas vibe.
Yeah. Man, I would put somebody like Bing Crosby on there, but I don't know if it's him or if it's another old school person that I've maybe more acquainted with.
Who else would it be? I know Frank
don't know.
Sinatra has had stuff like that, but that's similar.
You know, I don't know if I want to limit it like that because
You have to, Josue.
I feel like I'm missing out on a lot of stuff. I don't think I've been exposed to enough to actually like pinpoint it down to 5. You know what I mean?
There have been some great, because we use these ones in church, that I'll come back to particular arrangements. So like Shane and Shane has a great,
yeah. See, I didn't even think of them, but yeah,
great
you're right.
Christmas album,
Yeah.
and I love their arrangements of stuff.
Yeah,
And so again, some of it can become too much where you're like, okay, I don't need this, which is why maybe I wouldn't put it on the rotation for the regular.
Mhm.
But they have some songs, arrangements that I just really love.
yeah. I mean, if it's just the artist and what they can do with the music, then yeah, I would say John Foreman, Michael Bublé, David Crowder.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
I would totally want to continue.
Turkish Delight.
I would totally continue to want to hear what he would do with music.
Yeah.
Right. 4 and 5, man.
Okay, well, let me take this a different direction. Who do you not want to hear a Christmas song from ever again?
Creed.
No. If they put out a Christmas song, I'd listen to it. I can't imagine what that would be. It'd have to be in drop D.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Oh, I told you we saw them.
Yeah.
That, to me, though, that feels, it sits in a very specific spot that is super fun.
Yeah.
I can't listen to it all the time.
I wouldn't be able to listen to that all the time.
But I can like get into it for a moment. But did I tell you this? I shared an office with somebody way back in the day, and he listened to it year round.
Oh God.
The Christmas stuff. I'm like, okay, at some point.
You're crazy, dude.
And I think that put me, I'm like, it's anything Christmas. I need it in small doses. I can love it. It makes me feel festive season, then move on.
Was he ever convicted of like kidnapping?
Oh no, he's a great guy and a great guitar player, but of an era, like that was his jam and he really loved it. And I'm like, oh, I get it. And there's so much more stuff out there now.
I think it's that thing of like the artist being able, like doing just one type of thing and that's all they pigeonhole themselves into.
Mhm.
Like I would not want to listen to that all the time.
The thing is too, when you come back to somebody like Pentatonics, like they put out other stuff, but I'm like, I kind of want you to stay in your lane.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't know if you're doing it, you're doing it well. Cause man, that Trans-Siberian Orchestra production stuff, man.
It's massive.
Yeah. And they're just doing it and they're doing it 110%.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Mannheim Steamroller? Does that even come up anymore? Cause I remember having family
No.
members. Okay, forget it.
No.
Come up, but that
Maybe if John Williams is involved with making a Christmas album,
I mean, the Home Alone soundtrack.
that would be amazing. So that's my 4th, and my 5th would be
You're writing your own albums now.
Hans Zimmer.
No.
He could do some like pretty dark, all like the really sad Christmas stuff. I bet you he can make even
A
darker.
butterfly with golden wings.
There you go, Hans. You got-
Please, if he could do that song, I might love it.
There you go.
All right. Well, we don't have a ton of time, but when it comes to stuff that you guys are going to be watching
Mhm.
over the Christmas season, do you have any stuff that you will pull out every year that you're like, gotta watch it?
Oh man, I think for me it's probably Home Alone,
Yeah.
That's a
I don't know
great-
if we catch it every year, but every year I could totally watch
and then
it.
the Christmas Story.
I didn't appreciate that
Fragile.
as a kid. I appreciate it so much more as an adult.
Yeah.
It's real. I had a teacher that loved it and she would play it. I'm like, I didn't get it at the time. And now I love it.
Every time I remember when I was a kid, we would go outside when it was snowing or it snowed.
Lick the flagpole.
No, we'd have to like put the jackets on,
Oh,
and we'd always imitate the
I can't put my arms down.
I can't put my arms down. Oh,
Yeah.
that was great.
That's
Did you catch the newest one where he's all grown up now?
yeah, it was fine.
You're
Right?
Yeah, it was okay.
It was fine.
You can't beat the classic.
It's hard, to come back and do something that was so good.
The
always,
throwbacks and the homages to it was great.
we will always do the Peanut stuff because that's easy to just
Yeah.
jump in and watch. I don't know if everybody else has seen this.
It's a Wonderful Life. My wife would watch that.
We can't talk about that in our household because my wife has the opposite experience.
It's so funny.
I really want to have them on to talk about it, and I don't think it's going to happen this year, but we need to do that. But one that I love that maybe my kids some of them were too young for, this is going to be a funny thing to say, was the Disney version of A Christmas Carol. Okay.
Oh.
There's the Mickey Mouse one.
That's right. Yep.
I absolutely love, and I think 100% holds up. And it was the first one I was introduced to, but we'd have to go back and talk about it, and we could do a whole podcast, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But the one with Jim Carrey.
Oh, yeah.
Where they did animation based on his acting, and he plays Scrooge, but in multiple ages, but he also plays all the different ghosts and stuff.
Yeah. It's like the animated, like computerized animated one.
Yeah,
right?
and it's almost Uncanny
It's
Valley,
creepy, yeah.
but not too bad. And I really like that one.
Yeah.
So if I can find the time,
too.
I'll watch it. But when my kids were too young, some of it was a little too scary.
Yeah.
Now I think they're
Which one's the old one where the I think Christmas Past, he's like that huge guy, huge puppet.
You talking about the Muppets?
The Muppets, yeah.
Yeah.
That one was a good one too.
That is a good one. I could always get into A Christmas Carol. And we even read it. We started reading it a few years with the kids, and that was a fun one for Christmas to read. It's pretty short.
I'm excited. This makes me more excited for Christmas. Which is like really crazy for me to say.
Which is good because teasing our next episode, this is going to be, I guess, our only really fully dedicated to Christmas episode. Yeah. So if
we'll have eggnog and everything.
That's right. We should. Can you drink eggnog?
I can. Should I?
I make an eggnog latte for you or something. So yeah, if people want to pause right now and zoom into the artwork, they can maybe guess where we're going, but it will be a harder one to guess.
You kind of hinted it in the middle of this.
And I think because of what we did today, it's going to blend together. We are going to a Christmas musical. I know we just did Newsies, but we're in Christmas time. This is a classic.
Yeah.
But you had never seen. You've still never seen it.
Nope, haven't seen it.
So I'm going to be, and I only watched it later on. This one I only knew, you know how you would watch these Christmas movies every year and you would get to know the commercials as well as the movie?
Yeah.
Those old 1980s Coca-Cola with Santa Claus or the polar bear.
Polar bears, dude.
Or the M&M's one later on.
Yeah.
All that stuff. So this particular movie, I only knew little bits of the music because they would always promo this being on TV. We never watched it.
That's funny.
Didn't watch it until I was an adult. But it's Bing Crosby's White Crispy.
White Crispy. Reese's Pieces.
I held out.
Crispy.
So long.
Rice Krispie Treats.
Bing Crosby's White Christmas.
White Christmas. There you go.
We talk about sentimental Christmas vibes. It is all that in a movie. And I think a story that hopefully is compelling enough that will, not only keep you engaged, but maybe even the kids. We'll see.
Okay.
How do your kids feel about musicals most of the time?
They like them.
Yeah.
I mean, with Newsies, Ella got up and kept dancing. So,
oh, yeah?
Yeah. So
okay.
I think they'll enjoy it.
This is a different vibe than Newsies.
Well, probably for sure.
It's not.
I can imagine.
Because Newsies is based around so many like younger kids.
Yeah.
And this is Bing Crosby as an old crooner. He's basically himself.
Okay.
In the movie.
Oh, cool. That's cool.
But it has some fun stuff in it. So
I'm excited. Can't wait.
I'm excited to watch it.
And wait for you guys to watch it with us.
I know. So hopefully if you guys are wanting to just jump into the Christmas season and experience this too, maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't. Watch White Christmas because we're going to be talking about it next week. And let us know your suggestions.
Yep.
We would love to hear your suggestions, whether it's for Christmas stuff or stuff for our next season when we hit, 2025, that you're like, you didn't hit this all of these episodes later. I totally thought you were going to do X.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we didn't yet. We want to know.
There's plenty of time, people.
Yeah, there's plenty of time. You can email those suggestions to letitsnow@wdyt.show. That's what do you think?
Let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Let us know, and you know.
When you know.
But in the meantime, while you're waiting for that to come out, maybe you're done with your turkey, you're about to go outside and play football. If you could take 5 seconds and give us 5 stars,
yes,
that would help us out a whole lot.
Share. like, and subscribe.
Share, like, and subscribe because we have more fun stuff coming. I'm excited for the last few episodes of this year, and I'm already thinking, like we talked about, stuff for next year. I have some great.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Yeah, but until then, everybody, enjoy your turkey legs.
Yep, stay warm.
Stay warm. Let it snow. And we'll talk to you next time on What Do You Think of This?
All right, everybody.
Thanks, Josue.
Thanks, brother.
Talk to
Peace
you
out.
later.